today. We do have Paul Marquez and Gretchen Evans here from the Miami Workforce Center, and today they're going to present a kind of a professional development workshop for you, covering different topics as you see it, such as resume writing, just getting you ready for those different career skills that you're going to need once you either leave NEO or head on to your next transfer school, okay? So, just to let you guys know, just a couple of key points we don't want to forget about. Before you leave today, please make sure that you sign the sign-in sheet, okay? So, notice up here, you need to put your name and email, okay? Because if you attend both events today and then take advantage of the mock interviews on Wednesday, your name will be put in a drawing to win one of two $50 gift cards to Walmart, okay? We would prefer that you try to use this to purchase some type of professional clothing or fill your tank up with gas to travel to an interview, okay? Because this is a professional development opportunity. Come on in, guys. So if you do want to take advantage of that mock interview opportunity, we really encourage you to do so. You'll sign up here, okay? These are 15-minute time slots, and we do want you to include your name and your occupation of interest, okay? Because they would like to kind of gear their questions toward whatever field you're interested in going to, okay? All right, you guys can do that before you leave. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're off. Okay, as mentioned, I'm Paul Marcus. This is Gretchen Evans. We work at the Miami Workforce Center. We're actually called Oklahoma Works, and we have quite a bit of information with a very, very short amount of time. So we're just going to jump right into this. If anyone does have questions, just raise your hand and start talking. Okay, I don't mind if you just start talking, but if you raise your hand, it tells me who's asking the question, and I can, answer that more readily. And then if your answer is in the presentation, I'll let you know. I'll just say it's in the presentation, just watch for it, and then at the end you don't see the answer, then just ask the question and we'll answer it the best we possibly can. And this is what we put together is something just to give you a pretty good foundation for your resume and your interview. Okay? And we do want to start off with this one thing that I'm so ridiculously passionate about. This is not a waste of our short time. Read, read, read. You gotta read. Keep reading. If you have trouble reading, do audiobooks, but find some way that you can read just to get ideas, to expand your knowledge, to improve who you are, to improve yourself as a leader. Gretchen and I put a couple of examples, actually 3 examples. No, recommendations. These are recommendations. We gave you 3 recommendations of books to read. Now, you'll notice the 7 Habits is not there. That's a gimme. You probably should have read that book already. If you have not read that, it's the 7 Habits for Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Highly recommend you read that. But otherwise, Leadership 101 is by John C. Maxwell for anyone. I mean, you're the leader of your life. This is a life changer. This will make an effect on your life. Made in by Sheryl Sandberg. Definitely look at some of the out of the box stuff she's going to give you, and then Lucky or Smart by Bo Peabody. And this is one of the guys that actually put out one of the first index studies. This book is just a fascinating read. He's also a motivational speaker in some areas. So that aside, or that done, I might have up there. Okay. So, yes.
There are some of you that walk in later. We ran out of books, so if you want a job skills workshop book, just let us know. We can come by your office and pick one up, or email us and we can bring one, or to keep the order. We're at 121 North Main, in the same block as the Coleman Theater. We're on the north side of that block. And you'll see it is called Oklahoma Workforce Oklahoma.
But our entrance is the back.
The entrance.
So when your GPS takes you to our address, go to the back of the building. And one of the things that we did talk about was that book used to be online. So the original idea was to show you where it's at online so you can access it. And then if you wanted a hard copy, you have to come to our offices. We want to get more people to come in and use the Workforce Center. So that was the original idea. We found it was not online, so we had to bring just the book in. If you don't have the book, by all means, come and visit us, 121 Main Street. So in reference to your resumes, just can't say no. Do the work. It's a lot of work doing a resume. I mean, you can't get around. The only way to get away from that is to pay money to hire a consultant, to get a friend that knows how to do a resume. But really, it comes down to the work. And you can see on the slide here, all of the different components that need to be on your resume. The formats are in the book, so I'm not going to show you any specific formats. I'm just going to show you what components need to be in your resume, regardless of the component, or regardless of the format that you use. So I'm going to be covering each of those areas, and Gretchen is brilliant. She's going to give us some great extra thoughts as we go along. Obviously, we can't cover everything in reference to resume. This will give you an awesome foundation. Okay, so the three types of resumes you're going to see, or you have an option on, is the chronological, the functional, and the combination resume. So just to give you a quick rundown, the chronological is where you just go in date order. In fact, some employers, when they look at your resume, they'll read it in reverse just to see your progression, because you're looking in date order. When I say that, I'm saying, Gretchen, what am I saying in date order? They're going from
Present, past, present.
right, most recent to your older job. So actually, some employers read it backwards. And then the functional one won't have that progression. It won't have the dates. It won't have the specific employers. It focuses on skills. So the downside you have there is, in the past they mentioned, well, these are good, like if your work history is spotty, if you've been a homemaker and have any work history, if you've been a student for quite some time and maybe you don't have a work history. The only downside to that is an employer could recognize that there's a reason the functional resume is there. So there's pluses and minuses there, but it'll still work for you. It just depends on your situation. And if you are unclear of which one to use, just give us a call. Everyone's going to have our business card before they leave, so just give us a call. Now, the third one is the combination resume, and that will have your work history in order, but it also has specific job functions that you do or specific skills that you've done or that you have. So you kind of have both, kind of the best of both worlds there. And then for your contact information, and some of this stuff you guys are going to be looking and going, I know this stuff, and that's true, but this is good review. And if you don't know it, then you know now. Because the contact information is almost a no-brainer. But honestly and truly, Gretchen and I see resumes today that just have a name and an email address, or a name and maybe one phone number. You want to be contacted. So when you do the contact information, you want the name, the address, the phone number, a message phone, an email address. Now Gretchen had this really great idea about whether you should put the address or not. So you want to share that with me?
Well, in some instances, employers will choose to hire someone in that town because they want to, make sure that people that are hiring are in the city so the money can come stay in that community. So I live in Missouri, and if I were to apply for a job here in Miami, I may not put my address on there because I want to get in the door. And once I get in the door, I can use my email address, but once I get in the door, then I can talk about where I live and what I bring to the table. But in instances where that's not an issue, you want to make sure you have your address on there so that they can contact you via mail if they want to do that, or email.
Thank you. Okay, so one of the items mentioned in the initial slide as far as things on your resume is like objective or a statement or something like that. You definitely want some type of a statement. Some people don't like to put the objective anymore. Some say it's out of date, but put a statement. But whatever you put, make sure you target that to the job that you're applying for. So again, do the work. Your resume is going to change every single time. What I put on here on this slide was seeking employment as a financial aid specialist with Oklahoma State University. This is an actual job that's open now. I looked it up over the weekend to make sure I had something correct. It is with Oklahoma State University, so that's definitely targeted. When that employer looks at this, they know exactly what this job is for. Plus, that's in my potential 5-year goal from now, is to maybe look at financial aid counselor as one of my jobs I might be looking at in the future, so it worked out really well for me as well. But anyway, get that targeted statement in there. When you put your skills, the next item on the resume was skills. You want to bullet those. And from the same job description from Oklahoma State University, go Cowboys, or go Bucks. I put the statements bulleted on here as you might list them on your resume. Okay, so you definitely, and Gretchen, what do you think the purpose would be to have them just bulleted like that?
But first of all, it's easier to read, and no one really wants to read your book. So make sure your resume is easy. I mean, if you're gonna apply for a job, make sure that all of your buzzwords are there. Because employers nowadays, I don't know if you know this, but when an employer is seeking or looking through a resume, they give it like 8 seconds to make sure that's a resume they want to continue to look at. They have several piles. If your resume has all the buzzwords and your objective statement is targeting that job, then they'll put it in a pile to call you back or review later. If not, sometimes they trash it. And another thing, when you get ready to do a resume, make sure you review the job description, because you want to make sure if there's a buzzword on there, let's say, for example, they want you to have, what is that, ASO, what is it, 5400, whatever?
ISO 400.
ISO 400. Say, for example, they want you to have that. You want to make sure that's listed in your resume at least 3 times. That's what the experts are saying, because when the eye is looking at that resume, it's kind of leaning in or gearing towards what it is they're actually seeking. But one thing I really want to mention quickly is that on your resume, if you don't have good work history, or maybe you've not worked before, you're in school, so you have projects. Make sure you list your college projects if you don't have an actual traditional work experience to list. Also, we want to make sure that you're including your transferable skills. Do you guys know what a transferable skill is? Okay, a transferable skill is a life skill, something you've acquired in your life, whether it was when you were in the Boy Scouts, or maybe you do volunteering, at your church, or maybe you play in a band, or maybe you play like football players, or you play in sports, or you do theater, whatever you've done, because a lot of that stuff shows leadership. If you are a football captain, you have leadership skills. So that could kind of segue you into a management position. So you want to make sure you use your transferable skills to market yourself. That's your greatest tool.
Okay, so now we're going to go to your work history. We put on this slide below the heading, it shows you what to put in there as far as employer name and so on. So that's going to be really critical. So for example, if you take this PowerPoint presentation, which we're going to send to Keely, and she can forward to you if you want this, you can actually take that, look at the formats that are in the book, and see where this actually goes and how you want to format that information. It doesn't really matter so much how you format it as much as that you have all the information in there. Now, in terms of the job description or the duties, this is one that really gets complicated because so few people want to put the effort into composing a description of what they do or what they've done. But ONET online has made this simple, and that's why we have the website there under the heading of description of job duties. The ONET online website, when you bring that up, you just type in the title of the job, and you can get some descriptions of the job that you can actually use, and you can edit those. You just copy and paste them to your resume. And if I were to do that just on the average resume, I would do maybe not more than 4 lines from that website. So I would definitely encourage you to visit that website when you get back to your dorm, or when you get here, or this evening, or during homework, or after homework, something like that. Just explore the website. It's really awesome. And then another place that you can get your job description is your original job listing. The job that you're doing now, you looked at a description, right? Or the job, now this is for their whole career. For your whole career, this is just paperwork. For your whole career, the job you have now if you're working, or the job you get after school, you're going to see a job posting. Copy that and keep it. And you can use that to help do your job description as well. So that's going to be a very, very, very important document, because when you're applying for a job, you may be reading, well, let's say you have 1, 2, 3 jobs. And each job has different requirements or duties. But this job that you're doing now or you've done has all 3 of them. So you can pull the description and tailor it, because this one maybe doesn't have the stuff from this one maybe doesn't have the information from this one, the requirements. But you can pull from the original listing and plug those in, and now you have a targeted resume for each of those 3 jobs.
Not to mention, when you use your original job description, a lot of times when we work, we just get in the habit of coming to work and doing what we do. And we know what we're doing, but how to professionally describe what we're doing on paper is different. And if you were to describe it on paper, you may not use the proper grammar or whatever. So to take away from those errors, just go into ONET or use your job description, copy and paste it in there. A lot of times we forget some of the key descriptors of what we do on a daily basis. For example, let's say a cashier or waitress. If a waitress were to list, a lot of times they'll put wait tables. Well, you do a whole lot more than that. A lot of times you have to help balance the cash drawer. You might train new employees. So now you have training skills, you have slight bookkeeping skills, and other things. You might do inventory. So those are all the buzzwords that you may forget because you just think, I wait tables. So having your description will show you other duties that you may forget about.
Very good. Okay, so now let's go to, if you educate, where do you put education in your resume? Well, if you're recently graduated, you're going to put education first. But it sounds really cool. We should do that like in a commercial or something. But anyway, you use your education first. So when you guys are done here, when you go looking for your job, that would be the first one, the first item that you put on there. Then after you've had a job or 2, that's going to go to the bottom. So you're going to put what's recent in your experience. Education is where you get the experience for the job you're going to be applying for. So put that first. And then just remember to flip-flop that as you progress through your career. Because as you go through your career, how many jobs are you going to go through in the next 7 years?
Well, experts say that in your career, you may have 10 jobs. I think it's 10 or more. Have you guys heard that? The teachers in the room. If you,
It's on the internet. There's nothing on it that's not true.
It's on the internet. And also, there's on Sirius Radio, they have the Wharton School of Business. They usually have panels, and they have a lady that comes in. She's a career expert, and she will talk about things like current things, what employers are seeking, what types of resumes, what to put in your resumes, and things like that. So, just a plug for Wharton School of Business.
Okay, and then certificates and licenses, that was the last thing we had on that list. So let's talk about this for a minute. I'm gonna let Gretchen jump in.
Well, on certificates and license, a lot of times people will just clutter up their resumes trying to fill it up because they don't have enough information to put on the resume, and that's another good reason why you want to copy and paste from ONET. But you want to make sure that if the job, if it's a requirement for the job, that you have a certificate or a license or a degree, you want to make sure that you add that and make sure you target the actual requirement for the job. So if you have, let's say, a lot of times when you're working, you'll do, like, even in our office, we do like CPR. We'll get like new up-to-date CPR certifications. Well, if I was going to apply for a job, I'm not going to put on there I'm CPR certified. I mean, most people are. So I don't want to put that on there, on my resume. But what you can do if you're very proud of that certificate, when you go to interview for a job, you're going to have a portfolio. You can put your certificates in that portfolio, and I don't want to jump ahead, but you can put your letter of recommendations in the portfolio, and also any kind of awards or whatever. But don't clutter up your resume with the certificates, only what's required for the job and whatever license is required for the job.
Okay, so a few things just to avoid on your resume, and this slide I actually will read verbatim. Definitely don't put your age or your birth date on your resume.
Do you guys know why?
It's long.
It is, absolutely. In some cases, if you were applying for a state or federal job, it is a requirement that you put it there. And the reason why is because they're going to do a background check on you, and they have to have it. But if it's not a state or a federal job, then yes, you don't want to put it on there. And another reason why, it sets you up for age discrimination. And you might think, oh, I'm too young to be discriminated against. No, not so much. So just make sure that you're careful about that.
No selfies. We actually should put photos on
Yeah.
there, pictures, but selfies I think is cool.
Yeah.
No selfies, don't put your marital status, that's none of the employer's business. Basically, what is the employer's business is what you can do for that company. Your personal stuff is your personal stuff, just what you can do for that company. And that's actually part of a more extensive workshop. Don't put your salary, don't put your social security numbers, don't put religious, political affiliations. And don't put I, just if there's a lot of I's, just take them out.
I, me, or our. You shouldn't have any personal or pronouns in your resume, like I mop the floors, or I, know Excel. You don't need to put that, just put Excel, Microsoft products, or mop floors, or whatever, but leave the other personal things out of it.
One last thing on resumes is some of this stuff you do have to put on there, but that's a rarity. That's because the particular employer that you're applying for requires that, like maybe a law enforcement agency, things like that. So just keep in mind, there are some times when you might have to put this stuff. This is the norm. To get the exception, you really need to do your work, find out what the employer is looking for, what their requirements are, just as much information as you can on that employer. It doesn't have to be every employer. Some employers just sometimes just want the job, so you really hear what happens, right? But if it's an employer where you really want the job, do the research, get the extra information that you need. And the whole purpose of the resume is to get a job interview. It doesn't get you the job, it's the interview. That's why you want to put your best foot forward and just do whatever you can to keep anything on your resume. Keep anything off your resume that might keep you from getting the job. Boy, I just fumbled that around, but you guys know what I mean, right? Anything that's going to keep you from that interview, you want to keep off your resume. So, we're going to go on to, real briefly, Gretchen is going to go over the cover letter.
Okay.
And, oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll
But
just
before,
get them started.
thank you. Before we get to the cover letter, in your book, I think it starts on page 45, are the templates or the formats of the resumes. Each template or each format has the advantages and disadvantages of that particular type of resume. But the main important thing you want to remember when you're doing a resume is your resume should be fluid. You should never have just one resume and use that for every job you go on. It is a document that you have to tweak every time you apply for a job. Because if you just send it in because you had it and oh I'm late and I don't have time to do it, you just will not even apply for the job because it's not going to go anywhere. An employer wants to know that you are interested in that job, and we don't want to have to work to get you hired. You need to do the work for us so that when we look at your resume, we're ready to bring you in. It's impressive. It talks about who you are, what you have to offer. So make sure you go through the book, look at those pages. And then we also put a cover letter there on page 64 and 65. On page 64 is an example of how a cover letter should be written. It tells about the introductory paragraph, what should be in the body, what should be in the conclusion. And then the next page shows a cover letter completely written. So make sure you look at that because employers now, it's really kind of iffy. Some employers really want you to have a cover letter and some don't really care. So I would err on the side of caution. Go ahead and do the cover letter, but make sure it's not a repeat of your resume. That's why you want to read through that cover letter and see what it says. Your resume should accompany the cover letter. So when you send it via email, make sure you have a cover letter and then the resume. And I would actually paste it in the body of the email. Don't send it as an attachment because they may not be able to open it. So actually paste it in the body of the email. And not only that, if you scan it or send it as an attachment, sometimes they may not be able to write on it and they may want to keep notes on your resume. So make sure you paste it in the body, and that ensures that they will be able to see that resume whenever they open it. Any questions on resumes? How many of you guys have a resume already? Okay, great. And you use it regularly? Okay. So the rest of you don't have a resume? That's something you should put on your to-do list like right away. Start working on it now because what if someone, and summer is coming, you might want a summer job. A lot of employers are now using the internet to even seek summer employment, and sometimes they'll tell you to attach a resume. So you want to have that so that you don't miss out on those opportunities that may be there because you may not have taken the time to do a resume. And look, one other thing, and I don't want to run out of time, one other thing, when you go into, shameless plug for Workforce Oklahoma, but when you go on Oklahoma Job Match, which is our database, and register, it creates a resume for you. Okay, so you don't have to do all the work. Once it creates that resume, if you want to tweak it, then we have a workforce specialist there that can show you how to tweak that resume. But just go online and you can do it from your room, just get on your computer, you can do it from your smartphone, and just go ahead and register, and it creates that resume, and you already have one ready for you. Okay.
Okay, so next part is the interview. Can you pass out those cards? I'm not sure if there's quite there's 20 there. And what you have is a business card from everyone in my office. I don't just hand out my card because that would be too many phone calls, but I give out cards for every member of my staff. On the back of the card is the Oklahoma Job Match website that Gretchen was mentioning, so you can get on there and register and search for jobs. Now you can look worldwide, nationwide for jobs on that site. So if you are looking at a specific occupation, you're looking at relocating to another area, you might do your search in that area to see what's available. Some high school kids, we used to search for airline pilots in Los Angeles, and they got pretty thrilled about that. So I guess a few kids are going to be airline pilots. Of course, they're going to go to the Air Force first and then fly. Okay, so interview skills. We're going to give credit to Randall Kuhn from our Ponca City office. He actually put this together for our veterans. They are going to be using this, or some of this, we all did some of it. They're going to be using it at a veteran job fair, which is coming up in about a month or so. Okay, so job interviews are like first dates. You gotta give a good impression, can't be awkward, so on and so forth. Just like a first date, you want to prepare. You want to make sure that you are ready for the first date. So, on this next slide, this is kind of a cool slide. How is it coming up pretty here? Yeah, you guys can read that from the back, right? Okay, so do a self-assessment. And you know, when you look at this slide, probably the first thing in your mind is probably the same thing in my life. It's like, I can't do that. But I did. I viewed Randall's PowerPoint probably a day or two after he did the email, and I said, wow, this is perfect. Except for this slide. And then I looked at the slide again, and I went ahead and wrote all the words there, and I just put some answers to it. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but it only took me like 10 minutes to do. And then what I did was I went back another day over the weekend. Now that was a couple of weeks ago. Over the weekend, and I added to it. So really, go ahead and write the words down this evening, and just answer them. Learn a bit more about yourself, so that that can help you in your interview and what you want. And do you really want to work for that employer? Are you really what that employer is looking for? And does that employer have what you're looking for? On the next slide, we have one that talks a little bit about research. Yes, go ahead.
I want to comment, just before he goes into this, I want to comment about the self-assessment or the first impressions. Because when you meet somebody, we've all done it, the first time you meet them, you just size them up. And then once you actually get to know that person, you think, oh wow, you're different than what I thought you were, okay? So when you meet somebody for the first time, especially in an interview, it's kind of like wooing someone for a date. When you first go in there, you may not mesh. You know, sometimes you meet people and it's like you have this kindred spirit, right? It's like, you know what, I feel like I've known you all my life. Or some people you meet and you just don't hit it off. I mean, it's just something about the chemistry, you just, you know, I don't really like this person, they don't really like me. But if you really want that job, you gotta get past that. So the way to get past that is knowing who you are and what you have to offer. And when you know what you have to offer, then you become passionate about it. And then when you're talking to that person for the first time, even though you may not click, they see what's in here, and what comes from here goes to their heart. So you want to make sure knowledge is power. Do the assessment so you'll know some things about yourself that you'll be ready to talk about, because nothing is worse, especially in this day and time of, you can't do that in an interview. So you got to figure out how to get past that. Do an elevator speech, know what you have to offer, have those buzzwords ready, have those talents ready, because a lot of times people will say, tell me about yourself, and I know we're getting into that. Okay, they'll say, tell me about yourself, and we're like, what do you want to know? Well, you can't do that in an interview. If someone asks you to tell me about yourself, what do you think I'm asking if I ask you that and you're coming in for a job interview? The skills that you have to offer pertaining to the job you're applying for, yes. Work ethic, yeah. And Great, I'm glad you said work ethic, because yes, they're looking for that, but they don't want to hear, well, you know, I show up for work on time, you know, I do a good job, I can work well without supervision. Well, yeah, you better. I mean, that's what we want when we hire you, because if you don't say that, then you're not going to get the job, but if you say that, you probably won't get the job, because that's what we expect as an employer. So don't let that be your leading, you know, tell me about yourself. When I ask that, I want to know what it is that you do or you have obtained as far as your skills that will make you the person that I want to hire for this position. So that's what tell me about yourself means. And you can only do that if you do the self-assessment and understand about yourself and be ready for your 30-second elevator speech. And that's in the book too, if you want to look that up. Okay, sorry.
Nice plug on the book. Thanks, Gretchen. Okay, so you researched yourself. Now you want to research the company. What do they do? What's their vision statement? What products do they make? Where are the locations? Are they worldwide? If you're looking for a place that advances, you want to find out, does this company advance? Is this company worldwide and compatible with anywhere in the world? Or are they just local? So do the research and do as much as you can, even up to the point of finding out like who's going to be doing, who's going to be doing the interview. Tell you a quick story. And I really like when people do this. Some employers don't. I do like it though. I like when I have a job opening and people apply and they come and visit with me before they even apply or even do the interview. They come by, they want to know what do we do? What's in our workforce center? I'll give a tour of the building. The Disabled Veterans Outreach Program specialist that I hired, Travis just got on probation a year ago. But anyway, he came and I've got to say this, Gretchen found him at a job fair. He actually met his wife and actually invited her and she told him to apply. So Gretchen found him at a job fair. Anyway, Travis came and visited with me before the time of the interview. We visited, we talked, he showed me what his skills were. I'm really big on techies and people who know how to use computers, right? Because we do a lot of computer work in our office. I told him, do you have a resume? Sure, I got a resume. I'll just get on the computer and pull it right up. Wow. I mean, that was totally awesome. So he knew who was going to do the interview. He came in to try to visit. Now, if the employer doesn't let you visit, that's okay. Don't get too much into it. Just mention who's going to interview me. Well, do you think they'll visit with me before? If they say no, that's fine. But ask that question, whether they'll visit before. Go to their website. Talk to other employees that maybe work there. Stop in. It's a place that's like our place. Our customers come in regularly. Come in and see what we do. So definitely. Now you have other companies that we work with. Illinois would be a good example, right? They're very structured. So you're probably not going to get to go and do a tour, but when you call out there, you can ask. If they say no, that's fine, but they just might say yes. Or they just might say, you know, we've got this group coming in for a tour, contact this person, you can come in for that. So you can always find those little ways, little extra ways to get you into the employers, just to get into their radar, to get on their interest.
And another thing, sorry, excuse me, but another thing, if you can't get in to meet that employer, or you want to know if this company is a fit for you, because you're not just interviewing, they're not interviewing you, you're interviewing them as well. You want to make sure this is a company I want to work for. So if you can't get in and meet the interviewer, or you can't really find out anything about the company, then your local Workforce Oklahoma. All of the workforce specialists, most of the jobs we have listed in the area, they have called in and we listed those on our database. So a lot of us, we go out, we network, we do employer relations, so we know a lot of the HR people. We can tell you a little bit about their personality and what they're looking for. So, and also if you want to do a mock interview, come in and we'll do it there as well. I don't want to do that because we're going to do your Wednesday, but we'll leave that. Okay. Yeah, we can do both. So just one time is not going to be enough, I can tell you that.
It's practice.
It is
I was
practice,
going to wrap up with that, but
yeah.
I mean, you want to practice what you're going to be doing. You want to practice your interview. Gretchen and I, when we do presentations, we do a practice session. Now, we've had about 3 times to put this together because we just had such a short time frame to work with. We want to just get the good stuff together. Now, if we make a mistake in this, it's because we.
She's regarding.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she's good. Okay. She's safe.
When I interviewed for my job, okay, I'll say this really quickly because I think we have the time. I've been working in Miami for a lot of years. I work out of the Workforce Center, but I don't work for the Workforce Center anymore. So I've taught
She
this.
has definitely moved up in the world.
I've taught this for many years, okay? But when I interviewed for the position I have now, let me tell you, it was daunting because I was thinking, okay, I've taught these types of classes for years. Now I'm having to interview for kind of an upper level position. It was kind of nerve-wracking. So what I did, I went back and I reviewed what I've taught. I looked at, you can go online and you can Google, like if you're gonna interview for, let's say, an engineer position, you can go online and you can Google questions for interview questions for engineer, interview questions for counselor, interview for whatever, and it will give you questions that will most likely be asked when you go to your interview. Do that, and then that way you prepare yourself for how to answer those questions. And you want to use, if you're going to be applying for something, you want to make sure you use the products that they use. You want to make sure you understand what it is they're asking you. But I had to do all of that, and then when I interviewed, I did a phone interview to the corporate office out of Phoenix. And I was thinking, guys, a phone interview, I aced it. And I'm not saying that but I did because I prepared.
She is awesome.
I did because I prepared for it. And I knew what they were going to ask me, but I wasn't robotic with my answers. I brought my personality into the answers because I was prepared for it. I was able to look at how I was supposed to answer the question and provide examples of why I answered that way. And that's what's very key.
No, that was awesome. It's perfect. Okay, so I was going to close that last part with, so if we do make an error here, we didn't get a chance to really rehearse like we normally do. So, but we've been doing this long enough that we can do. I mean, collectively, we have over 50 years experience in workforce development, which is really cool. She's been doing it.
You know, right?
I am older. We're only a few months apart. Believe it or not, she's not really 20. But anyway, so even with that, just I guess the point I want to make is, even with all the experience we have, we still rehearse, and you definitely want to rehearse your interviews. We still go through the old workshops. Gretchen mentioned when she got her job, what she did. When I applied for the manager's position, we have 3 different types of workshops we do in the office, and I reviewed all 3 of them as I was going through the process. So yeah, you do have to put out some effort for the job that you really, really want. You got to put out that extra work, rehearse, practice, review, and hey, go get some pretty good professional. Okay, so the next slide, again, another one before the interview. It gives you just a few ideas, but one of the things that it mentions in the cartoon is it talks about where the interviewer asked, tell me about yourself. And then, of course, the little cartoon, the guy's mentioning, oh, wow, an open-ended question, and yada, yada, yada. But we do want to be prepared, Gretchen mentioned before, we do want to be prepared for that very first question of tell me about yourself. Keep it related to the job, try to keep the personal stuff out, and rehearse that answer with friends or family or us, or you come to our office and we'll rehearse with you, and maybe we can complete that initial part. Now, you can even write that out, and the point of writing out your answer, or in some cases I mentioned you should write out your interview questions and write out your answers, isn't so that you can pull them out and give it and read them to the interviewer. It's because you have them fresh in your mind. You practice, you've written it out. When you get in there, that's just going to help you so much in ACM, that interview. As you do more, you'll get better and better at it. Okay, so during the interview, and I'm just going to read through a few of these. During the interview, because you can read them on the board, a lot of it's about attitude and preparation, which we have just been really trying to reiterate here. But anyway, as far as smiling, being positive, give a good handshake, being prepared, so on and so forth. There's some really good ideas here. And Gretchen earlier mentioned something about being on time. You shouldn't have to tell an employer you'll be on time to work. That's what you have to have already. But honestly, truly, some of the stuff that's on the board, and even some of the soft skills stuff, like being on time to work and lunch breaks, you should have that already. And if you don't have it, start thinking about that. Start thinking about I mean, I know this is, when we're talking about preparing for the interview, this is to help you with the after the fact part. If you think you should be 10 minutes early to work every day, then you should always be 10 minutes early to work, regardless of what everyone else does. If you have employees or other staff you work with that are showing up 5, 15, 20 minutes late, or 2 hours late in some cases, and then your manager or whoever's in charge isn't saying something about it, still come in 10 minutes early. Give that manager something to brag about, to brag to another employer about you. Just start thinking about those things, like what do I want this employer to tell another employer as I move up and progress up the ladder. So really have all this stuff down, not just for the job search, but you want to make that a part of your life. Be on time, be teachable, want to learn new things, stay off of Facebook unless it's part of your job. If it's part of your job, possibly. If it's not part of your job, stay on Facebook. Focus on the job, focus on improving, focus on keeping yourself on. I probably went too far. But I really just want to get that point out is all these things that you see in workshops and so on, make those a way of life, not just a form of.
On the listen and get clarification, I want to touch on that just for a second, because a lot of times when we're in an interview, they may ask a question, and you may not understand what they're asking, and sometimes we'll just pop off and answer. But anyway, you answer. But you want to make sure that you understand what they're asking, so there's nothing wrong with saying, can you ask that again? Or can you ask that a different way? Or rehearse the answer back, the question back to them. Are you asking, did I, or whatever, and then answer the question. And if it's a two-part question, make sure you answer both parts. Like, tell me what you do when you encounter a conflict of interest, and how do you resolve it? So you're going to answer both sides of the question. Okay, so make sure you listen and get clarification so that you can give them exactly what they're asking for.
Okay, after the interview, send a thank you, and it gives you some guidelines on the screening as far as what to do with the thank you card. Make sure you do send that. There should be information in the book as well as far as thank yous. And if you want additional information, we have another sheet that Sarah Johnson from Northeast Technology Design put together. Email us and ask for it. We'll forward it on to you. And it's a really good, helpful piece of paper to use. The last one I'm going to skip. It's just another one of interview dues because I want to finish on time.
Okay, so let me say something really quick.
We are
45 on the nose, I tell you what.
145.
Okay, so on the thank you card, I know it's kind of dorky. It's like, oh, let's do the thank you card. But really, employers appreciate that. Now, if you're going to send a thank you card, a lot of times a written card is really great, but it may not be feasible for you to send a written card because you're going to send it through the mail. You don't know if they're actually going to get it. So if you have their email address, there's nothing wrong with sending an email saying thank you. Because what it will do, it'll let them know that you were really interested in the job and you were just not trying to meet a quota. Like, say, for example, if you are joining unemployment benefits or if you're in a program, you have to do so many. They want to know that you really want the job. And another thing, when you send a thank you card, it lets them know that if there's another position coming up later, then you would be the person they will contact to come in and interview for that job. So please send a thank you card or thank you. Oh, and one other thing I really want to reiterate or state, when you interview for a job, there is absolutely nothing wrong with contacting them and asking them to critique your interview. Ask them, if you don't get the job, can you tell me what I did well and what I need to work on for my next interview? And they will give you some good critique. If they give you some negative critique, don't take it personal. They're trying to help you because that's going to be something you can use for your next interview. But that's the best thing to do is contact them and ask them, will you please provide coaching? If you can't talk to them, send an email asking them to provide coaching for your interview and how you can better yourself for the next interview.
So we talked a lot about practicing, and that's what it says, let's practice on the screen. So Keeley does have a list of signups to practice or do mock interviews. I do encourage everyone to go ahead and sign up for them. We're going to do them on Wednesday. Gretchen and I will be conducting the interviews. We do have the questions already set. But one of the things that we're going to do, because we really try to tailor a lot of stuff that we do. So in the sign-up sheet, I believe there's a section that says what your major is or what kind of work you want to go into. So we'll try to move some questions into that area as well. We're only going to do like what, six or seven questions.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, we're going to do about 6 or 7, so that should go pretty well. Now, we went super fast. We're barely scratching the surface of information on interviews. We can actually, and resumes and cover letters. These are actually sessions that really should be quite a bit longer. So if anyone is interested, let us know at the office. We can put something together for you that maybe targets some areas that you want to work on. We also have some online materials that are free of charge to practice on your work search that breaks down your work search from the application to the interview to the resume to after you're hired. So we have those available as well. Do we have any time for questions at all?
I got meetings too.
Because we want to give you time to sign up as well.
Does anyone have any questions?
That's because we covered everything so well. Really. Okay, well, thank you all. You were a great group. We appreciate you letting us come up and share.
You're going to sign up for the mock interview.